Hey YouTube, SchufleDoes here. Today I'm going to walk you through this process I did on replacing this gas furnace. Pretty straightforward. I also want to say that I am not a licensed electrician. I'm not a licensed plumber. I am not a licensed contractor. These are all fairly simple, straightforward pieces and parts that I'm working with, but please use your own discretion. I am not liable for you doing something wrong or wiring it wrong or doing something wrong with the gas. So just make sure you're doing that right. So you're first going to want to find the power source and likely the breaker and flip the breaker. This is an older house with a screw-in type fuse, so we just had to unscrew those fuses. This furnace also had a really old switch with a built-in screw fuse, similar to what a GFCI outlet is now. So this is the new furnace. Just want to bring it over, open it up, compare, make sure what we're working with is all going to be compatible, which it is. The only big issue is that this one is quite a bit shorter, which is fine. I brought some sheet metal just to fab up something as a collar to connect the ductwork above to the new unit. So as you open it up, you want to just make sure all the pieces and parts are in there that you need or that you're expecting to have. Removing the cover, removing the instructions and any hardware. One thing to note, I always like to take a lot of pictures beforehand so I can reference. One picture that I always have to take is the wiring from the thermostat, from the power, from everything coming into the unit, what color and where it's going, so that everything syncs up and is controlled correctly. So disassembly is pretty straightforward. Take pictures, mark down the wiring, undo that, undo the gas, undo all the screws around any ductwork, and move the old unit out. So one thing I want to make people aware of are the different types of connections that you can have for ductwork to ductwork. Many of the types and styles are these basic cleats, whether it's an S cleat or a drive cleat. There's hemmed edges on each end of the pieces of ductwork that these cleats just drive over. So most of the time there's an end folded over. If you unfold that and the opposite end, you can just slide it right apart and the duct will come apart. The S cleat is basically if you don't have that hemmed edge. Edges of the ductwork bypass one another and that creates your seal. So once I take all of those out, you can see how easy this whole piece just slides right out, and there were no screws holding it in, just those various cleats. So the piece of ductwork that surrounds the A-coil for your air conditioner that sits on top of the furnace here, that's held on by screws. We just got to take those off. So now that the old furnace is free from the ductwork and gas line and electrical, we can move it out. Just make sure that you support that A-coil and any other ductwork. Scrap piece of wood, build some sort of bracing, tie it up better, but just make sure that that's supported well. This A-coil was supported very well internally with some angle iron, so we just need to pry up the furnace and take out the blocks that it's sitting on, and this will come right out. So now it's time to position and make sure we get the hole cut out where we want it, aligning with the original ductwork and duct filter, and hopefully yours goes as smooth as this one did, as well as aligning of the gas and electrical. So this is just an offset transition piece that's held on with tabs, and my intention here, because the new unit is so much wider, that I'm going to take it off and flip it around so the offset goes the other way, and then I can install that main trunk piece we took off earlier, put it on just the same, and everything should work out really great. So the tabs are yet another type and style of attachment for ductwork. And as you see here, all you need to do is fold those tabs out. And once you have all of those folded out, this piece will come out. In my case, I am going to turn it around, put it back in, and just bend those back over. So again, no screws holding this ductwork in. It's just a series of these tabs bent over the opening, cut through the other piece of ductwork. And you can straighten them if you like. This is just a basic seamer that I'm flattening those with. You can get those for around 20 bucks, less than 20 bucks for a cheap pair. This, I'm just making sure it fits up in there good. And once it is, and I have it angled the other way, then all you need to do is crimp or bend over those tabs again. And if you hit them with a hammer, you can then come back in with that seamer and flatten them down really good, and it'll be nice and tight, no screws. So this collar is a piece off of the old ductwork where the return air comes into the old furnace. So we're going to reuse this collar, take it off of that, and mark where it needs to go, measure where it's going to be for height, and left and right where the furnace is going to sit, and go ahead and just cut out the sheet metal on the side of the unit. So these units come fully enclosed both sides, so that you can pick and choose where that ductwork is coming in and cut your hole appropriately. So the original furnace was up on some bricks to avoid direct contact with the metal furnace to the potentially damp concrete. This is just good insurance to keep the bottom from rusting out. As you can see here, we're just trying to position and get the unit left and right correct so that it aligns with the piece of ductwork above, so it's less angles on the sheet metal when we go to install that custom collar. So just like anything, a little bit of planning goes a long way. We're just positioning and locating everything, planning out how we want to run it, and at this point I'm kind of figuring out what extra pieces and parts we're going to need, so we'll only hopefully make one trip to the parts store. It is 25 now. Good job. So with the magic of YouTube, we're back from the parts store. I want to continue taking off pieces and parts from this gas line and build all new back to the valve that is turned off. Alright, so finally some new stuff is going in. We have the unit up on bricks. It's level and plumb and true to the ductwork above. So here I am just using some black pipe with some Teflon tape, the good stuff, securing everything to the new furnace's manifold and out the indicated hole for the connection back to the house's gas line. This one was a little complicated due to the proximity and closeness of that main drop with the valve on it. However, a couple extra pieces here and there got us to where we needed to be, and it turned out quite well. Here's the first part of the union, which allows all the pipes to be threaded together, and then that coupling nut that goes and compresses those two pieces together locks everything and makes it gas tight. Just lining up here and there, reusing the sediment trap from before. Always recommended to put that in on a gas line. So taking a street 90 right out of the furnace to the union, reusing the sediment trap, going up and over and back to that drop of the gas line, to me is the easiest for this setup. Ideally it would be much simpler, but I just picked up multiple length pipe nipples at Home Cheapo so that I'd be able to make all of this work. So it looks like everything's going to fit. I can take it apart for final assembly. Again, utilizing that union so that I can screw all the other pieces and parts together and then lock it in with that one larger nut at the union for the final connection. So a couple of shims and this thing lined up perfectly. Just remember, when you're using shims, put them against each other, and as you push them towards one another, they lift level, which is great. And as you can see here, this unit is sitting level front to back and side to side. So right here I'm just using my seamer to dress up that edge so it's nice and flat and true. I also, off camera, use some strapping to better secure the ductwork above to the joists. Now I'm just taking some measurements to cut out the collar piece that'll connect the furnace to the existing ductwork. you go.
Cool. All right.
Nice.
So now
on to the next
electrical.
thing.
Or
one of you
taping it up first.
Yeah, one of you can do some tape. It's just like that. It rips super easy.
I was just gonna say that looked really satisfying.
But huge pain to get it started, so that was actually pretty easy.
Okay.
And a little bit above.
Do you need it to be below 2?
Well, we'll do
another strip thing. Okay.
Basically every gap that this touches.
Okay.
So this basically is going to seal in all of it. So you'll cheat this, cover it all the way over,
right,
all the way this way, all the way that way, and over everything. So this, what I got in my hand, is some new Romex down a conduit drop to the switch. The wire is going to go up and over the ductwork. I'll staple it to the joist and connect it into a better junction box. And then the drop will come down to the switch, which I'll wire into the furnace. Alright, onto the direct vent intake and exhaust. Here I simply dry fit all the pieces parts, put a little Sharpie mark to align all of the connectors so when I go to glue them, I can glue them and align it all in one piece, and then you'll see me put that in here. Done.
Awesome. You need the condensation cord back on.
You want me to go turn that
Nope.
thermostat on?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
So, power. Switch works.
What is that?
Leak tester. Alright, this is switched to on.
Okay.
The switch is on. It should have juice. So why don't you go up to the unit, turn it to heat, and set it to 70. And is it on?
Yeah.
We have heat! We have heat! Well, I guess. Whoop.
Well, I haven't heard a boom yet.
Well, that's good.
There's a click.
Okay. So that means it's kicking in then.
Should be soon to be lighting.
Well, I smell. I'm starting to feel it heat.
Are you?
Yeah. It stopped blowing though. Did you turn it off? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's working. We have heat!
Is it warm?
Yeah!
Yeah. Done.
Thank freaking God. I don't know if I can last it too much longer without heat. Okay.
Probably.